very interestingly, Shama Mohammed, there's a reason why political parties should maybe give tickets to women, because what we are finding, and I'll put up this graphic in a moment, over the years, many more women are now inclined to vote than men. And leaders like Nitish Kumar, for example, in Bihar, to some extent Jayalalitha earlier in Tamil Nadu, have benefited from this increased women vote. There is reason to believe that this is a winning card. Why is it that political parties don't want to push for a woman vote bank still, Shama Mohammed, especially the Congress party?
Rajdeep, I explained to you, again I'm going to, Khushbu, I just want to correct her. For 10 years, when we were in power, we tried to pass it, but we did not have the majority in the Lok Sabha. If we had it, right now we would have 33% reservation. You have it, please do it. Please ask the Prime Minister. A request to pass this bill immediately. Now, what you see, Rajdeep, is on our part, even last time for the Kerala election, a woman, there were two women for the Lok Sabha, like Shashi Tharoor mentioned. And out of that, one name came from Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He is very insistent, even in this Kerala assembly elections, the upcoming, he was very clear that there has to be 50% women, names of women and youth. So, and that is what the committee also has declared, that there will be 50% women. This is something which I'm also facing.
The Congress will give 50% tickets to women and youth in the Kerala elections? Is that what you're claiming?
I'm saying both together. It's not just women 50%. Youth and women together is what they have mentioned. That is what they've declared, and that is what we are waiting for in 2 days' time. In the Kerala Assembly elections, it's what's been told. Now, the reason being, Dr. Tharoor is right, Kerala is a state where there are more women to men also when it comes to, and the northern part of Kerala is matriarchal in their systems. But even then, there are very less women out there, and that's why, like Priyanka said, it should be a collective effort from all of us women to fight for this.
Now, why should it be what I'm not able to understand is why should it be a women's fight? Because Tara Krishnaswamy, this should be a fight really led by men as much as women. I will put up the private sector numbers. In the private sector, numbers have increased over time because, in a way, this has been a collective action where men also, along with women, will put up those numbers to show are equally, in a way, have stake in having more women, for example, in corporate boardrooms today.
Yes, Rajdeep. So a couple of things. One is that at least with respect to some women leading political parties, Mamta ji obviously, but also with Jayalalitha, the largest percentage of female candidates were fielded time and again at the in elections in which she was contesting, when she was leading the party. And those are the times where the Tamil Nadu Assembly number of women, that graph also surged. Tamil Nadu Assembly has had the maximum number of women during that time. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I think we in India place a disproportionate amount of emphasis on whether a specific leadership like a chief ministerial position, ministerial positions, cabinet ministerial positions are with women, as opposed to looking at, like in the case of the US election recently and Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris. If you look at that and contrast that with what is happening in India, and people very easily fall into this trap of saying, oh, we had a chief minister, we had a prime minister decades ago, we've had chief ministers in India and they didn't have it, right? It's a ridiculous comparison, because what has been built in more sort of mature democracies is that there's women's leadership in the parties and large parties at constituency level, at district level, at various decision-making levels within the party, like a national executive. And then you have candidates in large numbers. And then therefore, when a Kamala Harris, when a Biden Harris assume office, you have 100 other women that are elevated to decision-making positions in terms of, chief secretaries and, deputies of, chief of staffs and various such positions. That is not even possible in India, because we're not developing enough of a pipeline, not just at the low. There's no point in beating that, we have a number of women.
No, we have a number of women at the local level in district panchayat.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
The question is, when is it going to go above that? The next challenge is to take it from local government to the next level. And that, it seems, we are still a long way away off. The reason we position this question today is simply to perhaps just touch the conscience of the male MPs who may be watching. Because let's be honest, unless the men change in this country, nothing's going to change. It's International Women's Day, but really the men need to change and need to change their attitudes, particularly to women in politics. Thank you all. It's always better to have women on a show than men, because women are more articulate speakers usually on television than men are. That's been my experience over the years. So thank you all very much, and once again, happy International Women's Day to all of you, and may your tribe increase and may many of you come into Parliament and beyond.